He is here to optimize your departments.
Optimize? What does that mean for us?
It's incredible here, absolutely stunning. I wish you could see this sunset. We should definitely extend the trip.
Your position has been optimized out of existence. Human resources are no longer required.
41% of Americans want AI running the government. Not advising, not assisting, controlling policy, speech, national security, the whole damn thing. That number sounds insane, and it should. But here's what broke my brain. If you work at a company bigger than a food truck, you already voted yes. Because that sweeping AI power everyone's panicking about, corporate America deployed it years ago. We just gave it a nicer name. We called it digital transformation.
Of all these tens of thousands of people that are being laid off, is it actually because of AI? Is it the economy right now? Is it a mix of both?
IBM is projecting an 8 times surge in AI-enabled workflows. Not 8%, 8 times, man, 8 times. 64% of AI budgets for operations, not the innovation lab, not the sandbox, production. Right now there's a court case, Mobley versus Workday, where a judge ruled the AI wasn't just a hiring tool, it was the hiring decision, legally an agent. And if your company screens resumes with AI, statistically, you do too. The ruling is aimed at you. So here's what we're covering in today's video. How much power companies have already handed AI, who's liable when it breaks, what do you need to do Monday morning, and why the 41% who want AI running the government might be the most rational people in the room. Let's go. That Mobley case, I need to set it up properly because it's the first domino. Derek Mobley, black man, has anxiety disorder and diabetes. Applied to over 100 jobs through platforms using Workday's AI screening. Rejected every single time. Not by a human who read his resume, by software that never saw his face. He sued the Northern District of California. Didn't just let the case proceed, the court ruled AI hiring platforms can be held liable as employed agents. Not tools, agents. That distinction matters a lot. We'll break it down in 5 minutes here. But first, the scale is already happening because Mobley isn't an outlier. He's patient zero. Here's the part that doesn't make cable news. Not scary enough for a shy run, but it should be keeping your legal department awake. Companies aren't debating whether to give AI decision-making power. The debate ended sometime around Q2 2024. They're debating speed, how fast they hand over the keys. Jensen Huang told the world, every company is now a technology company.
This is the Super Bowl of AI. For 30 years, we've been advancing this form of computing we call accelerated computing. We invented the GPU. We invented the programming model called CUDA, accelerated computing. Its moment has now arrived.
And then quietly, that became every company is now an AI delegating company. McKinsey's State of AI report from November, almost all organizations are now using AI. Many have started deploying AI agents, autonomous systems that don't just answer questions, but do go out and do things. Deloitte called it moving from ambition to activation. If you've ever sat through a digital transformation at all hands, you know that's corporate speak for we stopped making PowerPoints about AI and started letting it touch production. And IBM's own survey found that 64% of AI budgets are now being spent on core business functions. Not sandbox experience anymore, not the innovation lab that smells like Red Bull and broken dreams. Actual core operations of the company. KPMG's Q4 Pulse survey said, AI agents are the strategic priority for 2026. LucidWorks surveyed 1,600 AI leaders. Same answer. Agentic AI, numero uno. And the kicker, the governance platform every Fortune 500 board uses, ranked AI governance as the #1 corporate governance trend for 2026. Above ESG, above cybersecurity. So when 41% young voters say, give AI more power, maybe the honest response isn't, that's crazy. We already did. They're just saying the quiet part out loud. Now, if you watched our video on the Pentagon's partnership with Anthropic, or lack thereof, you'll remember Anthropic's desire to not want to go autonomous AI decision-making for humans in the loop when it comes to certain things. Info cards in the corner. Corporate America never got the memo. There is no human in the loop mandate for the private sector. Your company's AI can hire people, fire people, it can recommend strategy to the board, and nothing says it can't. Let me get specific. This is not theoretical. AI is hiring you, or more likely not hiring you. Gotcha. That Mobley versus Workday case I teased, here's the full picture. Derek Mobley applied to over 100 positions using Workday's AI screening system. Algorithmically, he got rejected every single time. Not filtered by a human, filtered by software that, according to the lawsuit, used proxy variables correlating with race and disability status. He took it to court. And here's the ruling that should make your general counsel nervous. The court held that the AI hiring platforms can be held liable as employment agents, not tools. Agents, if the AI is a tool, the company using it is liable. Standard product liability. Your hammer breaks someone's window, that's on you. But if the AI is an agent, then the vendor, Workday in this case, is also on the hook. The algorithm didn't assist HR. Legally, it was the hiring decision. That's not a semantic distinction. That's a liability earthquake for every single company running automated screening. The Harvard undergraduate law review specifically noted, the ruling addresses what happens when AI acts as an agent, but leaves wide open what happens when AI starts acting beyond its instructions, which is exactly what's happening now, and exactly what part 2 is about. This one gets dark. Healthcare companies are using AI-driven workforce reduction systems. The legal exposure is stacking up. For example, Fryer Levitt, healthcare regulatory compliance firm, they published analysis showing AI-driven layoffs in healthcare create risk factors that didn't exist even 5 years ago. Patient safety implications, because when you let an algorithm decide which nurse to cut, you might end up with a pediatric ICU staffed by the people the model kept because they were cheapest and not the best. And HIPAA, because the AI processing workforce data may be touching protected health information without anyone realizing it. Picture explaining to a jury that you fired 200 nurses because the algorithm said so. Your Honor, the model's confidence interval is 94% on this one. Good luck with that. AI is managing you. Research this year found that algorithmic management systems reduce communication to one-way impersonal directives, resulting in emotional dissonance, alienation, and ambiguity. A separate study found that algorithmic management is transforming employee autonomy, procedural transparency, and the entire socio-technical dynamic of performance evaluation. Big freaking words. Translation, the algorithm doesn't just tell you what to do, it decides what counts as doing a good job. So if you're an Uber driver, a warehouse picker, or increasingly a salaried professional at a Fortune 500, congratulations. Your boss is a spreadsheet that learned to send Slack messages. Doesn't care about your kid's recital. It doesn't know that you stayed late at last Thursday. It knows your throughput number. The number either goes up or the number goes down. And that's when you become a workforce optimization opportunity. See, the thread that's connecting all of this together is that AI stopped being a tool in these scenarios. It's the decision maker, hiring, firing, managing. And in most cases, nobody's regulating it. But it gets bigger than HR. AI isn't just managing their rank and file. It's in the room where strategic decisions get made. AI is advising your board. City AM ran a piece headlined, AI quietly taking over strategic decisions, not AI helping with data analysis. Quietly taking over strategic decisions.
Now we have the AI Act. Some of it hail it as a milestone, a major win, with Europe leading the way as the first to regulate AI globally. But others argue it's a step backward, claiming Europe is quick to regulate but very slow to innovate.
Directors and boards, basically the trade publication for people who sit in boardrooms, described as seen playing out globally. CEOs pitching AI integration promising unprecedented efficiencies, while boards scramble to figure out what they're actually approving. PwC published an entire oversight framework for boards trying to manage AI decision-making and delegations. PwC, a law firm that bills by the hour, giving away a free framework because the problem is so widespread, it was better for business to help clients not get sued than to wait for the lawsuits. HBR published research showing Gen AI can flatten corporate hierarchy by eliminating middle management coordination entirely. Sounds great in a McKissick deck until you realize flattening hierarchy is a consultant speak for your director's role just became a JIRA ticket. Superwise, an AI governance platform, framed the shift as AI governance moving from compliance burden, strategic driver of trust. Not a burden anymore, a strategic asset. Companies that figure out AI governance don't just avoid lawsuits, they get a competitive advantage. The ones that don't become the case study in the next HBR article about what not to do. MIT Sloan and BCG called this the emerging agentic enterprise, a phase where leaders must navigate AI systems that are no longer just tools, but autonomous decision makers embedded in the org chart. Your org chart now has nodes that aren't just people. And if you're a VP of engineering, some of these nodes report to you. Think about that. Which brings us to the part that should make every VP of engineering, every CTO, every head of product physically uncomfortable. Who is liable when AI makes a bad call? When AI approves a bad loan, screens out a qualified candidate, a proxy variable buried 6 layers deep in the training data, recommends a layoff strategy that disproportionately hits a protected class. Who signs for this? Who gets deposed? Right now, the EU AI Act is the only comprehensive legal framework for AI decision-making on Earth. It's legally binding for an AI system whose outputs touch European citizens. The United States, we've got the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, which is voluntary, as in, we strongly suggest you don't let the algorithm commit employment discrimination. But hey, you do you. You see, the gap is perspective. The EU AI Act classifies AI systems by risk tier: unacceptable, high, limited, minimal. Systems making employment decisions, high risk. Mandatory requirements, conformity assessments, documentation obligations, human oversight, real penalties, up to 7% of annual global turnover. In the US, on the other hand, a company can deploy an AI hiring system tomorrow, screen out every candidate over 50 or from a specific zip code, and unless someone sues, and can afford to sue, by the way, and win, nothing happens. No pre-market assessment, no conformity requirement, no mandatory disclosure that the AI is even being used, and even Europe can't figure it out. Clifford Chance, one of the biggest law firms on earth, published a briefing in January saying the EU is still scrambling to reverse unclear regulation around AI liability. They have a multi-year head start, and they're still patching holes. The US hasn't even left the parking lot. Financial institutions are especially exposed.
When young Americans watch the halls of Congress gridlock, observe corporate money flooding elections, or see decades-old figures still calling the shots, it's no wonder the trust crisis is deepening.
Valid Mind published research showing traditional model risk management flat out does not work for autonomous agents. These systems create failure models that existing frameworks can't even see, let alone catch. So here's the picture. Companies deploying AI agents at 8 times the rate, agents making decisions about hiring, firing, management, strategy. US framework, a polite suggestion. EU framework, real, but full of holes. And the executives doing this, 69% say AI agents improve decision-making. I bet they do, right up until discovery. And then the question isn't, does AI improve decisions? Whose signature was on the deployment approval when the AI's decision turned out to be illegal? And this is where that 41% number we mentioned earlier hits different. The Harvard Youth Poll surveyed 2,040 young Americans aged 18 to 29 and found deep economic insecurity and eroding trust in every major institution. The same poll series that produced that 41% number also found that 42% of conservative young voters want a Democratic socialist to win the White House in 2028. Think about that pairing. Young conservatives, the demographic supposed to want less government, saying give me a socialist president and give AI sweeping powers. That's not a coherent political ideology. That's institutional trust at absolute zero. They don't trust any of the systems, so they're willing to try anything. And I keep thinking about a specific scenario. You're 26. You just graduated with debt into a job market where you submit your resume to an AI that rejects you before a human ever sees your name. You apply to 100 jobs, like Derek Mobley, and an algorithm says no every single time. Eventually, you get hired somewhere. Your schedule is set by software. Your performance is measured by an algorithm. Your raise, if you get one, is calculated by a model, an LLM. Then one day, the model decides your department is underperforming, and you get a notification on your phone that you've been transitioned out. No conversation, no handshake, no thank yous. No, we appreciate your contributions. And the algorithm hired you, managed you, and fired you. You never spoke to anyone with the authority to actually change any of it. Now somebody asks that person, should AI run the government? And they say, it's already running everything else. At least the government is supposed to be accountable. That's not an endorsement. That's a cry for help, dressed up as a policy opinion. And once you see it that way, you can't unsee it. All right, real talk here. You're watching this on your lunch break thinking, interesting video, but what do I do Monday morning? Here's the actionable part. Find out what AI is actually deciding in your organization. Not what the AI strategy deck says, what's actually deployed. Most companies I've talked to have at least 3 to 4 AI systems making real decisions about people. Hiring screens, performance scoring, workforce planning, customer segmentation, and the CTO doesn't know about half of them because they were bought by department heads on procurement cards. Ask the liability question now, not after the lawsuit. If this AI system makes a discriminatory decision tomorrow, who in this building gets named in the complaint? Nobody can answer that in under 30 seconds. You have a governance gap. Look at the EU AI Act risk classification. Even if you're a US company, if any of your customers, employees, or vendors are in Europe, it applies to you also. And let's be honest, the EU framework is where the US is probably headed in 3 to 5 years anyways. Companies that align early don't get caught flat-footed. Read the Mobley versus Workday ruling, seriously. It's the first shot in a legal war that's going to define AI liability for the next decade or so. If your company uses an automated screening for hiring, this case is about you. The public already wants what good governance looks like. Your board should want it too. The question is whether your company gets ahead of it or gets dragged there by a process server. So everything I just covered, that's the business side of everything. That's what's happening inside companies right now in America and in Europe, whether anyone told you or not. Part 2 is coming up is going to be where it gets political. What happens when that 41% actually starts voting for what they want? Bloomberg Law noted this year that AI is already acting beyond the scope of its prompts, forcing policymakers to confront questions about legal personhood they generally weren't prepared for. And on Reddit, r/futurology, one of the top threads, it's game over for people if AI gains legal personhood. And here's the historical parallel that should keep you worrying. We gave corporations legal personhood in the 19th century. Started small, just enough legal standing, sign contracts, and own property. For over 150 years, that limited personhood expanded into Citizens United, corporate speech rights, and the entities with more legal protections than some of the people who work for them.
If corporations break the law, they can't be imprisoned. You can be. Corporations can't be executed. If you commit a felony in a state like Texas, you could be. Corporations that cause accidents or go bankrupt enjoy limited liability, so their investors are off the hook.
Are we about to walk down the same road with AI? Hit subscribe so you catch it when it comes out, because this political angle just makes this business case look tame. And if this video made you think about how your own company handles AI decision making, drop a comment. I want to know, has an algorithm ever made a decision about your career